Hi everybody, this is Alex Deploy again from Expert Forex. We are presenting part 4, the chart analysis section of our basic dealing and charting skills course, um, focusing obviously on a MetaTrader. So let's go to the first methods that we use to add more information to our charts, and one of the ways is by using trend lines. And I'll take you through this on a practical basis to show you how trend lines are drawn, and how active trend lines and inactive trend lines work, and how rays work, and how you can set the colors and all that. So let me quickly just pull up a chart. There we go. Let's say we want to add a trend line to this chart. Now there is an icon here that is for trend lines, so I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to draw a trend line. It's probably, that's a not the best one. Let's see if this one works a bit better. All right, so let's say that's a trend line that you want on your chart. Now, as you can see, this trend line stopped where I wanted it to stop. You can actually do that, and the reason for that is that I haven't got it set on ray. If I had it on ray, it would actually extend further. Now, how do you set your trend line properties? Click on the trend line. It gets those little dots on the end and in the middle. That means that trend line is active. When you click on it, then you get trend line properties that you can click on, and you can then change the color, the thickness of the line, all that type of thing. And when you go to parameters, if you click here, you will see that this then extends the trend line off your chart to the right. So let's have a look. There we go. So I've now set it for array. I'm going to set it back to normal, so that it might just stay. There we are. Okay, so that's how you see active trend lines. They have those dots, and all you do is you click on it, and it activates the line. And you also, you've seen rays now, and how you can change the colors of trend lines. And you can really just draw trend lines. What you do is you click where you want it, you pull the trend line, and stop, and there you have your trend line. They're very easy, and they're great for identifying support and resistance. You can see there's a sort of support area, and when the price breaks out of a support or resistance, it tends to make long candles. There's the long candle. Here's a support area that cause long candles. So that's basically how we use trend lines, really just to identify support and resistance areas. Another long candle shown there. Okay, let's have a look. Let's move on to our next slide. Okay, a lot of people want to draw parallel lines because they capture channel trading activities quite nicely. And so let's have a look at that, at how we draw trend lines. Just looking at this example, they're almost identical looking shapes. Very interesting. Okay, so let's get rid of all the other trend lines. How you get rid of the trend lines? You just press backspace on your keyboard, and you then can get rid of your trend lines. So let's have a look. I'm going to just look for some channels. What have we got here? The franc is not the greatest currency for channeling, and I'm going to have to find. Okay, there's a rough channel happening right there. There we are. So what you do is you establish your upper channel line. You can see this is an active line. Now I'm going to click on it and press Control. And what happens, it creates a second line. You can just pull it down, and there we are. You can see there's our rough channel. It's touch there, touch there, touch there, and at that, and then it stopped channeling and broke out. So that's how you draw parallel lines. If you'd like to, I'm just going to show you a horizontal one. Oh yeah, here's another little channel down here. um, Click on it, activate it, and then you pull your you just draw your extend the line upwards and release it, and there we are. There you've got your parallel lines. Pretty useful tool. There is also a tool in the index, which is called, oh, there we go. We've got channel lines there, equidistant, and I think you draw it like that, and you can then activate any of them, or and then move the line where you want it. Okay, so then you move the line where you want it. So that's another way of drawing channel lines. Now channel lines, as you can see, this is what we call a dominant angle. Can you see how it's acted as resistance throughout and support throughout, and then if you extend it, it keeps on acting like that. So this is what we call a dominant angle that I've just by sheer chance in this example found. Okay, so let's clear all the lines and we'll go back to the charts. Hopefully that helps you with that aspect, how to create right now. Horizontal lines are pretty easy. Again, let's move back to our charts. There is the horizontal line icon. You just click on that and you put your horizontal line where you would like it. Must probably be a bad example. I've chosen the franc here, which is not the greatest, but here's one where you can see the price has resisted there. It's encountered support, and bounce. So that's a bouncing area, and we want to put that onto the chart. And you can make the line again by clicking on the line. You can make it look however you want. You make it look thicker. You can change the colors, and that's how you draw. And again, if you want to duplicate any line, you activate it, press Control, and up it goes, and you've duplicated. In fact, with MetaTrader, most things that you want to duplicate, you just press Control and you create a duplicate. Okay, let's move on to the next item, which is vertical lines, the opposite of the horizontal lines, and they are particularly nice for aligning areas. For instance, if I had to add a indicator to this area, I would let's say put the relative strength index on. Oh, that's fine, and I want to align certain areas on the chart. I would let's say you've got a and I'm just going to take any old signal here. Here's a nice signal. There's a trend line coming down, and there's a trend line on the chart coming down like that. Just trend lines only join the or merely join the turning points in the market. Turning points, and I'm joining turning points there, and that effectively is a signal. So we would line them up like that, and what I've just done is I've added a vertical line to make my eye align with the indicator, and there you can see what a beautiful buy signal that particular signal was when it broke that trend line, and it broke that trend line. So that's and that's created quite a nice move there. So that's how the one way that I use trend lines is to align them with the indicators below. The other way is if you know there's the trend of the vertical line. If you know that there's going to be an announcement at, let's say, 5 o'clock, and you want to remember that, a good thing is to just put a line at that time. So as you're watching the charts, you tend to forget that there's an announcement happening at that time. So I like putting my vertical lines as announcement lines, and when the price gets there, I know to be extra cautious. So that's another little application of the vertical lines. Okay, so let's go on with this one. The other vertical lines that people find quite handy are the period separators. In other words, separating days and weeks and months, and I'll show you how that works. Let's take all the nonsense off this one. Now notice how I delete the indicator. I click on the chart, it brings up the chart properties, but it also has an indicator list. I click on that, it's got the relative strength there. I click on that and I delete, and we've got rid of the indicator. Okay, now we want to put in a period separator. So we go right click on the chart, properties, and there's a click box for period indicators. When I click that and say okay, what it's going to do, it's actually going to show me where the chart goes from one day to the next. In other words, this broker's 24th hour. So that's the 24th hour, then it starts at 0 and then goes to 24. So what we have here is 24-hour sections. That little section you see there is the Saturday section, where the broker, there's a bit of an overlap between Friday and Saturday. So that this particular broker keeps it open a little bit longer for Saturday. So you can see there's a little Saturday in between every day. So there, these period separators are quite nice. I've got it currently set at 1 hour. If you go for 4 hours, for instance, this period separators will become weekly. So you can see it captures the weeks, and if you set it for daily, it will capture the months. So it captures them and makes it just easier for you to see what happened in this month 10 years ago, or however far back you want to go. There's quite a lot of history on most of these charts. Okay, so here so that's the period separator, how you can use it and how you can implement that. Now the Crosshair is a tool that you can use to get quite a lot of information on, and let me show you how the Crosshair works. It's handy for lining up indicators, for price levels, and details of a move. So I'll just bring our chart up again. I'm going to add an indicator, and this time I'm going to use my template, which you now know by now, and I'm going to delete everything that ever was before by pressing the back arrow, and it deletes everything that was. I also going to get rid of the period indicator because I don't want that anymore. Don't show that. So right, we're back to normal, and I've got a moving average on there, so just don't worry too much about that. Okay, so the crosshair is, for instance, here's a signal, a trend line signal. There it is, um, and and there is the icon for the crosshairs. Now if I click on that, if I click on that, and oh, okay, there we are, brings it across, and it then gives what we call a crosshair, which gives the vertical and the horizontal reading at the same time. So that is where the signal is to sell. We look up on the chart and say yes, it was a good sell signal, and it did go down. So that's one way, and we can say okay, the signal was given at this is the daily chart on the 23rd of December, or the 23rd of December, that signal actually was given, and the price that the signal was given, and you just go sideways and you get the price. Okay, so that's one way of using the crosshair. The other crosshair says if I caught that signal and I rode it right to the bottom of the trend, how many pips is that? So by clicking on the, just do that again, by clicking on the crosshair, keeping your click down, and extending it to where you want it to go, it will tell you. And as you can see there, I can't take my finger off as you can see, it's saying 14 days later, because this is the daily chart, the price has moved 259 pips, or 215 259 pips, and it moved to the last reading there is the price that it moved to. So it's very easy for you to then use the crosshair to say how big is this trend. Just do that, and you can see, oh, that trend was 770 pips. So that's also quite handy. So the crosshair is quite an interesting tool to use, and yeah, please use it as much as you can, because it does save time, and helps your eye find things quite easily. Alright, then there's a whole series of little arrows and gadgets that you can add to your charts. As you can see, you can add writing to your chart, you can add price levels, all that kind of thing, and you use these tools on the icon bars. And again, I'll just very quickly show you that. and oops, I've opened the wrong charts. So let's and there are the tools. So if you want to write something, you click there, you tell it what you want to write. You say example. I'm going to write that, and you can change the size and the color and everything like that. And there we go, example. And once you've got it, you can actually move it where you want it to go. You can't move it to the bottom. If you want to type something on the bottom here, you've got to type it there originally. But you can move this around, and that's how you get. So you can make notes on your charts, which is quite nice. The other and I've used the text box. This one is a text label. Now this is a way of labeling your chart. Now I'll just show you how that works. Um, and obviously I've got it set for something really, some really funny colors. Um, and let's label this chart the CHF, the franc, and you'll see why I've labeled it there. So you'd put your label there. Now the thing about the label is it stays where it is. So that one moves with the chart. That one will always stay where it is. So it's quite handy when you, as the charts move on, that label will stay where it is, and that one will as that will keep its position on the chart layout. That one will move with the chart and disappear, or whatever. So that's the two differences between the text and the text label. Then you've got your other gadgets that you can add, and I always find the price level one pretty handy. You put it there and it tells you exactly where the price level is. You don't have to look it up on the side. And if you, it gives you the opportunity of doing it on the right hand side or on the left hand side. Um, uh, and then you can also use all kinds of arrows and things like that if you really want to do that and add value to your charts. All this is all part of analyzing your charts further using little gadgets that are available to you. So okay, hopefully that's helped, and we'll move on to the next section. Close that, and that's what that section is all about. Then you can set alarms. For instance, if you're trading and you don't, you don't want to watch the charts all the time, but you are interested if the euro starts going up or something like that. You can actually set an alarm, and the alarm will go off, and that's pretty handy. So I'm going to show you how to do that very quickly. Um, I think you go into terminal, and it brings out a whole lot of facilities. You can see your trades, your account history, all that type of thing, and then it says alerts. So what you go to the headings, you go there and right click on it, and then you get an opportunity to create an alert. So let's say this is the franc that we're looking at. Let's say we want to know when the franc goes lower than that particular level, which is 4790, let's say. So we would say we want to know when the price is reaches 1.4 4790, is that right? No, 1.04 04790, and we want to be alerted, and it will ring every 10 seconds. You can set it for how many times you want and how many times. So you want it to really ring when it hits that level. You say let's test it. That's the sound that you'll hear. I'm not quite sure if you're hearing that same sound, but that's the sound. You can even set the sounds that you want, and okay, and now you have an alarm in place, and it's going to, if it meets those conditions, if the price is currently bigger than that, which it is, the price is actually bigger than it. So I set my alarm the wrong way around. I should say, but is smaller. Then it will wait and wait, and if the price does it will start making that noise in your speaker system or your sound system, and you can then be eating dinner, and all of a sudden you hear that particular alarm, and you know your trading needs attention. Pretty handy stuff. It's not only price levels. You can actually set time, um, and all kinds of other things on time. You can see you can set a time where the alarm must go off, maybe if, just before an announcement or something like that. So that's a pretty handy facility to have. And I'm going to just cancel this one and close that. So that's how you set alarms. Pretty, as I say, pretty handy. Okay, let's see what else we can do with these charts. All right, Fibonacci is a very popular trading tool, and I'm just going to show you that there's a lot on Fibonacci. There's the time zones, the fans, the arcs, the expansion. So if you are really competent in those areas, you have got that. The most important one is the Fibonacci levels and the extension levels, and I'll just quickly show you how to set that on your chart. Um, Here we see a extension of the Fibonacci, and I'll just lower that down. And let's take the previous extension. That's pretty good. Here's your Fibonacci tool, Fibonacci retracement. And sometimes I do this in the oops, I always do that in the wrong direction. You'll have to experiment to a certain degree. Uh, and what it's saying here is there's your extension. There's been a trend from there to there, and then it went back. It came back, and I'll just have a look. Here's our Fibonacci guys. This will drive Fibonacci guys crazy. It came back and bounced exactly on the 38 line. You can see how it bounced there. And then what Fibonacci people then say is that it will then go to the 1661. Now here's an absolute textbook example, and I haven't really rehearsed this at all, of Fibonacci working absolutely to the book. So here we have an extension, a 38.2 bounce, and it went to 61.8. Absolutely beautiful example of Fibonacci. Okay, so that's how you use your Fibonacci tool, and I'm quite amazed by that particular example that I've just raised. I'm gonna do the same thing for the next lot and just see where we are right now. Okay, so the theory is that Fibonacci is going to be bouncing either on the 50 or 38 and then move up like that. And then if you put in your horizontal lines and you see there's a previous bounce area, so that's a valid horizontal line, and it's really tried there, and you find that it lies exactly on a Fibonacci line, it gives that Fibonacci a lot more strength, and the bounce is all that much more likely. All right, so there's a quite an interesting observation there, and let's move on to other areas. All right, if you want to add shapes, triangles, circles, or squares to your charts, then you can use the insert shapes, and you can choose which one you want to do. I'll just do a quick one for you, show you how it works. It's insert shapes, and what shall we put in here? I think I can't see a triangle. Maybe there's a triangle. I'll manufacture a triangle for you. Yeah. Okay, this one hasn't quite worked. Okay, there. Oh, it's a terrible color. But let's say that was a triangle, and I'll take it a little bit more. Really not a greatest example of a triangle, but sometimes people like doing this kind of thing to make sure that their eyes actually capture the shapes in the market. And here you see a little triangle that's developed and a breakout that occurred out of the triangle. Normally when you've spotted these things well, you will find a long candle. So if you've entered there, you would have caught quite a nice move. So that's how you use, and I'm going to just delete everything again. That's how you use your shapes. All right, the F12 key allows you to progress charts one period at a time. It's really great for back testing, and again, I'll just show you a quick example of that. Let's say you're over here, and you want to back test. So what you would do is you press F12 and it will progress the chart one candle at a time. And what's great about that is that you can now say, all right, what would I have done now? What would all right, now I would have done this. That is a sell signal, and this is a possible sell. So that's a possible trend line violation. The price is going over the moving average, so I would sell right now. Now let's see if I was right or not. And on we go. Yep, it's selling. It's selling. So that's how you can back trade. It saves you years and years of live trading if you just go back on your charts and have a look at this. So let's see if this was a successful deal or not. There. Okay, it has sold. I'm not quite sure if it's going to reach its target, but you can see it has been successful, and down it goes, down it goes. So there was a successful deal. And it's going to start turning right now. It's going to start going up. Okay, so that's how you can back trade and test why I said it was going to go up. There's the signal that it wants to go up. So there's the signal there, and there's the signal there, and it might start going up now. So let's have a look. There we go. So the RSI is a pretty good indicator for these kind of things, and you can back trade it as I've just shown you now, candle by candle. Really interesting stuff. Go back to the beginning, and I'll Okay, hope I'm giving you lots of food for thought here. If you do have any further questions, please send them to Mary MacArthur at info@expertforex.com, and she will answer them, or she will pass them on to me, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So thank you very much again for your time, and I hope you've learnt a few things. And goodbye from me, Alex Deploy from Expert Forex.